And CLG, I think that they have a huge target on our back, and they've been wanting to beat us for a very, very long time. They haven't been able to beat us because, one, right now we're the best in NA. Two, I think that they're going through some team problems, and they have their roster swaps and they have their strategy and their analysts, but they haven't really hit their stride this year, and I'm not sure what it is.
Welcome back to the North American LCS and our next game of the day, the 90th game of this spring split. CounterLogic Gaming versus Team Solo Mid. Chat, we heard Dyrus saying that they're playing with a target on their back, and he might be right. CLG is going to catch TSM or Cloud9. They have to win here.
Yeah, and so far this split, TSM is 3-0 against CLG. Even though CLG hasn't beaten TSM yet this year, they are playing well. And honestly, they're one of the two teams that realistically challenges TSM in this league. Dexter, in particular for CLG, has been having a couple big games in Elise, and so far is 4-0 on that champ. But remember, this is the 4.4 patch. Elise has taken a couple hits. Yep. She's still going to be an effective jungler, but nowhere near the level she was when Dexter went 4-0.
The last time these teams faced off, it was with Reginald in the mid lane for Team Solo Mid. But now the Bjerg King is back and open for business.
Yeah, and Reginald did great in his week back, and in Bjergsen's first week back, you know, he reminded everyone what a danger he was. He retook the lead in kills for the LCS, despite missing 6 games. Currently, he has 121 kills and is getting closer to ManCloud's record for most kills in a season. Look at that. He averages 7.8 kills per game, and he will get that record. Historically, he has been the best. If only he could play a whole season, he'd have that record, especially this year. He's averaging 1.5 more kills per game than any player has in the LCS ever. Look at ManCloud, 5.96 is the closest to him.
Well, guess what? He's got more time to do that as we got a game coming up right now. So let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's CounterLogic Gaming. Nien in the top lane, Dexter in the jungle, Link in mid, Doublelift at AD carry, and Aphromoo on support.
Fan favorites on both sides. On the red side, it is Team Solo Mid. Dyrus in the top lane, TheOddOne in the jungle, Bjergsen in mid lane, WildTurtle on AD carry, and of course Xpecial on support.
And that is going to bring us to today's featured matchup in the top lane, Nien versus Dyrus.
Yeah, Dyrus has been absolutely solid for Team Solo Mid. And to give you an idea, he has 0 deaths in 11 of their 22 games, and in other 6 games, he's died only once. So TSM can always rely on Dyrus to perform, and he will always be farmed up for team fights. But for CLG, you know, you look at Nien, they don't need him to carry. They don't ask him to carry. They actually just ask him to break even in lane. Then, if he gets into a team fight, he can be an asset. But he is not the same level of consistency that Dyrus has achieved.
And Dyrus actually spoke about that directly to that point. I don't want to go in my lane just to play my lane to go equal. I want to play more aggressive. And I don't know how many more times we've seen him on Renekton, actually. He's got 5 plays on that champion.
Yeah, Dyrus definitely stepped it up when Reginald was in for those 2 weeks when Bjergsen left, because prior, they had just kind of known that Bjergsen can win the lane and be like, all right, he's the reliable one, Dyrus, be consistent. But when Reginald came in, Reginald was the one they wanted to be consistent, and Dyrus and Turtle and Xpecial were the solo lanes that they kind of wanted to carry. But now that they've had that experience with Reginald being out, going, 5-1 in the 6 games, they're keeping that aggression across all lanes. So TSM, I think they're the best they've been all year.
And looking at Reggie's stats, as we brought up a little bit last week, it was kind of like just getting the band back together with the lead singer. He had just about the same KDA that Bjergsen had. He was 0.4 off of it at 6 KDA. So Reggie was still able to put up the numbers. The team has flowed through these weeks, and really they're building off of these wins. When you hear a team say, we can build off that loss, they're building off every win they've had.
And the coolest thing about this spring split here is, like, even though they're 19-3, they're still really pushing for every one of these wins because they really want to go to the All-Stars. They want to be the #1 team in NA, and of course they'll still have to win the playoffs. But being the #1 seed actually holds a lot of value for them. It means they get side choice in every game in the playoffs. It guarantees them the bye. Obviously, there's still an outside chance TSM couldn't even be top 2 if they lost a bunch of games and CLG were able to win out, which is why this game is also still very important, because CLG has an outside chance of making the top 2 as well. If they win all their games, and then if Cloud9 loses to TSM, CLG, and one other team, CLG could actually get that 2nd seed.
Well, with the joining of Dexter on the team, they've definitely picked up enough wins to make that look possible. He has had some amazing play. We mentioned his Elise just a little bit ago in the pregame, but his Eve as well, along with TheOddOne playing Eve, is something we're going to have to watch for today. He was an absolute menace on it, and Who is not when they're on Eve?
Yeah.
Always in your face, always creating problems. We'll see what they create for picks and bans here. Zed's going to be the first one out there, as Bjergsen brought that back last week. Nobody liked it. He's 3-0 on it. Still waiting
He's
for more.
undefeated on a lot of things.
Yeah.
As TSM with their absolutely absurd record. Of course, CLG's only lost 3 times with Dexter in the lineup as well. So they've been quite strong since he's been acquired. Lulu ban, fairly expected. The Renekton ban will lead to some interesting components in the top lane here, actually. I wonder if Nien, he really values Ryze. The entire CLG team really values Ryze right now. And Ryze is pretty good at keeping Shyvana at bay if they wanted to funnel Dyrus onto that pick with the Renekton ban. I wonder if TSM's going to counter with a similar ban of their own. For Ryze. Yep.
How about it? Speak of the devil.
Nien goes, damn, really wanted to play that.
We might just have to go back to his Shyvana. We'll see. Dyrus definitely loves that as well in the pickup. Nien has 13 plays on that half dragon. He likes to be able to control the top lane and not get pushed out.
Kha'Zix's really going to get through here?
Again, 2 games in a row if he does.
It's either a Kha'Zix or a LeBlanc.
Yeah.
I wonder.
That would be a big pickup for Link.
Yeah, the Sivir ban has normally been held through for the last... because both teams are so strong with it, actually. If you combined both these teams' record with Sivir, they would be 13-1. Really? They would first pick a Thresh and let Bjergsen have the choice at LeBlanc. I really wonder what Link wants to play against LeBlanc. He could play something like a Nidalee if he really wants to stay at bay. Link's Nidalee is very strong. He's only played it once this year, but he's 1-0 on it.
Everybody seems very calm. They're ready for this to happen. Bjergsen's going to take it, so Link felt comfortable with that pick happening. I'm really interested to see what he has, and maybe they're just going to save it all the way for the end so Link can completely counter the team.
Huh. They're smiling right now.
They have the Thresh. Whenever you take the Fiddle, you
Fiddle
get the
Thresh is a fantastic combo. The Fear would also be decent if Dexter's reaction times are fast enough to fear LeBlanc right as she jumps in so she can't jump back to her distortion and you can burst her down. But it is a risky pick and requires an immense amount of vision control. They haven't locked it in yet, which makes me think they're not going to go that direction.
Dexter's talking a little too much for that to be it. The placeholder, just playing with the minds of Team Solo Mid. It's like Nien. We haven't seen Trundle come out in a week or so, but he will make his presence now for CLG.
Yeah, that's going to only be his 2nd game on Trundle all year, actually. He had really favored Shyvana, so the Renekton ban working against them a little bit there. Unless they really want to plan on running Trundle up against Shyvana. Dyrus is near unstoppable on the half-dragon, though.
Yeah, 5 plays on that as well, just like his Renekton.
I feel like TSM's getting everything they want right now. Giving them Shyvana, LeBlanc, especially if they go with this Eve. Once again, though, they're hovering over it like they might not decide to pick it. Really?
Oh, can you decide to pull out here? This will be the 3rd play for Evelynn, for OddOne on Evelynn. We'll see what he can do as the general. And WildTurtle still hovering it, locked in the Twitch. Considered to be a bit of a lane bully as well.
He used to play a lot of Twitch. And I'm wondering why this is the time that he decides to break it out. Because we've seen a little bit of Twitch over in the OGN in Korea, is one thing. Against Lucian, he can trade fairly well early game. He won't get outranged like he would against Caitlyn. I would have expected a Caitlyn pick for TSM, but it does provide them a much higher amount of AoE damage. It gives them a bit of extra flank potential when you consider Eve and Twitch can both come in stealthed. I like the pick because we haven't seen it before. I'm just trying to figure out why.
Thinking. A little shock and awe on the initiation once you get the team fight going. You got OddOne coming in from the side and a cask to start off the slow. And everybody's done for the fight. What are they locking in for these last ones? Doublelift already has his Lucian, so he may be locking in. A little bit of a jump start. Lee Sin for Dexter. That's going to be the first time he grabs that up in the split.
Especially early on in the game, if he wants to chase down WildTurtle, the stealth reveal on Lee Sin could actually be fairly valuable against Twitch. One of the remaining junglers for him, he opts not to go for Elise here, with the Elise nerfs being taken into account. And then obviously CLG just, Ziggs is meant to try and shove out Leblanc, so Leblanc can't get the roam going. It's about what Ziggs is good for. It's very risky pick against LeBlanc, though. Everything really is a risky pick against LeBlanc.
Except Lulu.
Yeah, pretty much. Except someone with massive self-shields.
So the Twitch pick does get locked in. Very cool. Sweet fact, last game Nautilus. That was the 5th time Nautilus was ever picked in the LCS.
Wow.
Yep.
Leona, did you know, Riv?
Did I know?
Yeah.
I will in a second.
That the Twitch Poison will proc Leona's Sunlight?
Yes.
So it's actually a really deadly combo if they get any type of close, because pretty much every single spell Leona uses, as long as Twitch hit that target, gets the proc without Twitch even
It's a cool little synergy they have together. Definitely got to consider the extra bit of damage. It's not going to be huge, but it'll be good enough to really start that engage and get that kill in if you want it enough, and the level 2.
So looking at these team comps, I really feel like TSM got everything they want, and CLG is really going outside the box. Consider this. They've never played Dexter's never played Lee Sin in the NA LCS. If I can be trusting these, CLG has also never played Lucian. Doublelift hasn't played Lucian. One of the most popular AD carries hasn't played it. 1 play on Trundle. 2 plays on Ziggs for Link. They're playing a very untested composition here against what is really in TSM's wheelhouse, aside from the Twitch.
Well, a little bit, talk about it in a second, because there's another cool factor. The champs are locked in, so we have to take a look at who you guys voted, because you do. We like it a lot, and the teams care. 79% of you from LOLesports.com think TSM are going to win this matchup. And as we were just talking about, sweet and little cool facts. Looking at the lane of Doublelift and Aphromoo, the most amount of their losses come from a Thresh and a Lucian lane matchup. So they're taking that in their own hands this time and saying, we lose against it, so if we can't beat them, take it.
Yeah. What have they lost 6 times against Thresh, I believe?
It's 6 Thresh, 5 Lucian. Little crazy.
Losses on the year. CLG.
Like one of them gets hooked or just shot.
Now here's the added question. Dexter and not Dexter, the top laners, Nien and Dyrus, both brought teleport once again. I think we're going to be seeing this pretty much throughout the entire week. But CLG has been the tricky team at level 1. Yeah. They have pulled off a lot of maneuvers to get kills, even before the trinket wards could be placed, only at 2 minutes. Look for CLG to try something very creative here, especially with Thresh.
Everybody's ready and raring to go. We're going to have Xpecial on Leona this game. He himself has actually only played 3 unique champions in Annie, Thresh, and Leona. You're always going to get one of them. Xpecial likes to stick with one of those 3. And this time he'll be throwing down the solar flares again. Had some pretty crazy ones last week. You saw in the preview show one of those huge plays with a 4-man solar flare.
People aren't going to be target banning the support against a team with as many threats as TSM.
Yeah.
So it's a very safe strategy there for Xpecial to just cycle those 3 supports. Leona's also the only support he's undefeated on of the 3. A lot of stats going in TSM's favor here, just from Champion Select.
Well, CLG is one of the teams that has a higher KDA. So maybe they can match that this game. We know Bjergsen is on a good clip to be breaking that one this season if he can keep it up. And right now, it's just going to be regular start. We saw a lot of invading coming from Game 1 and Dig versus Evil Geniuses, but TSM and CLG are just going to play it safe.
But note how Xpecial did the Relic Shield plus Potion plus Ward opening, which is an option I think a lot more supports are going to be going with now that they cannot place their Trinket Ward until 2 minutes. It puts the late invade ward down where the late invade would generally come towards TSM's blue buff down on that bottom side of the map. And now gives TSM a little bit more freedom to roam around.
Well, so far, they have a 2v1 in the making.
I actually feel like they're going to catch CLG walking this late invade. I think CLG is going to walk over that ward, but it's yet to be seen. Are they going to go the roundabout way?
He didn't see him.
No, CLG did not get spotted by that ward.
Don't get antsy in the pantsy. Oh, no! Oh, no! Huh, wait a minute! No!
It's because they didn't know where CLG was. It's that absence of knowledge that ends up happening.
Very, very close game of cat and mouse to start it off.
Ooh, this means OddOne's going to get counter jungled on his blue. He's most likely not going to... Depending on which way Dexter runs out, OddOne would go to the wrong thing. And Dexter's taken the full route of counter jungling I really want to see what happens with these junglers here. They could very well be on a collision course, depending if TheOddOne comes over.
You can see him, Dexter trying to
He's going straight for the blue. Good guess. Because he has a support with him.
Yeah.
And they kept Dyrus up top to jungle because they see the 2v1. Very smart move by TheOddOne going straight.
Got to get the team synergy. We talked about it in the first game. The early game here in 4.4 is all about the team movement. Got to get a little bit of help from everybody coming out here. Dexter feels like he can do it alone, and he makes a good impact, but Nien's soaking up his wraith as well, so it's going to have to be a little bit slower.
Yeah, and the top laner is becoming second junglers very early on in the game. We're going to potentially see that double turret trade once again. This is one of the implications of the trinket change. You wouldn't think it at first glance, but since the lanes are very difficult to scout, you have a lot of blind invades, and the teleport chain is for cooldown reduction. All of these things become much more possible, and we're going to see a lot more turret trading.
Bjergsen going hard on Link right in the beginning, but he does have the flasks, so he's drinking up those consumables to keep himself safe. We see top lane and bottom lane going to go down, mirroring last game here. It was a bit different of a start, but they do find themselves in the top and bottom lane.
And the time is very similar.
That timing, yep.
Yeah, as far as killing the turrets. So these second turrets will probably fall about the same time too. And one added effect of this is so strange. You have the top laners jungling and the junglers laning. Eventually people are just going to shove with the top laner and let the jungle actually jungle. It would be much more efficient, if you think about it.
You think so? I don't know.
Especially if they're bringing teleport.
Got to get that red buff burn on the turret, man. Just kidding. 4 minutes on this one, and we are looking for CLG to drop the bottom second tier, or the top. And we'll look like it's going to be the top bottom turret going down, back and forth. Got to flip it around. 6.7 on each side, and now this opens up the map. Where is the vision going to go? Usually we see the teams slow down a little bit because they don't have enough of that vision just yet.
Yeah. So nothing to be gained really by either team. Since both the top laners decided to jungle, it was kind of a matter of who jungled a bit faster. Nien jungled slightly faster. And now it's because CLG is rotating for the dragon. They're very low to this dragon, though. TSM's not in position to collapse, though. So overall, CLG with the bottom lane take, because they peeled back for the dragon, gets this one as well, which will give them a slight edge.
This is what EG did last time as well. They were able to get it. So kind of following suit here with what happens in the 2v1 swap. You're going to have all three in the bottom. Why not grab the extra gold? So CLG now pulling up about 400 gold on that. Link usually goes and does a roam at level 5 on that Ziggs because everybody's expecting you to back. And he does get that gank off. But now with so much chaotic switching up, it's just a farm lane for him.
These are CLG's strengths as a team, actually, recently. They focus very heavily on objectives, and they generally get them. Starting the game like this just starts the objective game early and neutralizes the laning phase where TSM is quite strong here. Doublelift and Aphromoo are probably the strongest 2v2 laners for CLG, so they're the ones that are probably not too pleased about this one, but they'll do it for the team.
Doublelift has been thrown out of his natural habitat very early in this one. He won't be farming too much.
Back to the jungle.
He'll find it. He will find it. We'll see if TSM can get the poaching crew out and figure out where he is.
Yeah, level 4 wraiths being done by Doublelift.
Hey nice, man, you gotta get what you can. Xpecial.
He got the pink ward.
Omnipresent all over the map. Doing the support duty. Not too much pressure from both teams. They're definitely giving each other the consideration here in the early game. No ganks towards Bjergsen or Link in mid after the lanes have kind of panned out in the way they have. The junglers is just trying to soak up what they can. So slow. It's probably going to be that next dragon or one of the ward engagements we talk about.
Yeah, or maybe just a big shove in the top lane. How many people are CLG going to send for this lane? Because they currently got 3 on the way. This is big because Dyrus is freezing the lane, whereas Nien was pushing the lane. So now CLG does have a potential to push. We're going to see a 5v4 up here if we're not careful.
Great timing. They know Dragon's down and they have the timer on it, so they have all the time to play around up here. Looks like they're going to be able to cut off Bjergsen from getting there, so he'll force mid, draw Link back down as well. The kill may not come here, but the turret should eventually.
Yeah, Link doesn't want to spend too much time away from home, but teleport actually coming in. 4v4 dive attempt.
This is going to be big. Nien taking a few turret shots there. They disengage quite well. Nien throwing down pillar to help. And it looks like they are going to still get a few shots.
There's 5 people up here now for CLG.
That's the hook onto Xpecial. Nobody's able to get in there for the play. Dexter's a little far off. Gets Tempest down for first blood. And he is going to be hit up. How did Link get all the way back there? He's in the fight too. The Lantern out from Aphromoo. And it looks like they're going to be safe. No move from Bjergsen in mid just yet. There's another kill coming in. Burnout could be coming up for Dyrus, but they wait on that one. 2 kills and mid-turret damage.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty disastrous early on for CLG because they are the ones that invested 5 people up there. Oh, but can they get Dyrus?
That is nice. Very good job coming in from Doublelift and Aphromoo. Just talking about that bot lane.
That almost evens it out. Now you just have to consider that Bjergsen got all that uncontested farm in the mid lane because of the 5v4. Slight edge to TSM. You don't expect to see a 5v4 in the top lane this early on in the game. Only 2 people, I believe, had their ultimates here. There's the Dragon's Descent and the Ziggs ult to come up here. Nien just pinging 6 as well because the Lucian queued. Decides to take it. Or tried to take it. Never mind.
Oh, there's Link.
Yeah.
How did he
Link
get
came
back
all the way to
there?
the side, and then he flashed in. But see, Nien had the turret as they ran out of minions, and CLG couldn't fully support that dive. With the way the fight ended up happening behind the turret there, if CLG could have somehow all moved through the turret, they may have had the upper hand. But because they isolated themselves, it ended up being a 2v3 post-dive.
Very risky from Counter Logic Gaming. And that was that teleport forcing the fight in. Usually we see them being very methodical and strategic about their movements around. We've seen some of their games go in a win for them with very low kills. But it's going to be different here, it seems, as we see the aggression coming out early in the game. Only 9 minutes in, already 2 kills to each side and 2 turrets down as both teams going very hard at this double turret takedown and then kind of feeling each other out here, sort of towards the mid game.
Yeah, it's a pretty big chess match right now. Both teams heavily invading. Vision control is paramount at this point.
You can see.
But the
very dark.
The sweepers this early on in the game are not very effective since no one's level 9 at this point, and getting vision is hard. That was a nice ward take by Dyrus, actually.
Oh,
good. Another one. Good, good.
Ah!
Much more important than you would think here.
Yeah.
Vision control.
That's all the wards down except for the vision one that Nien has up. He's really not helping this fight too much. He's going to be going down here. A good focus down by the team, and that is the vision that's able to give that to him.
Straight up vision denial right there. As TSM continues to roam around. Every time someone goes to farm a free lane, the other team takes a power play immediately. That's what TSM is doing with this red buff because Doublelift is off in the top lane.
The WildTurtle's in mid. He's going to get a Mega Inferno bomb, but he's all right. The whole team of Counter Logic Gaming is trying to anticipate TSM in their jungle, not who's mid. They have so many things on their plate to prioritize right now. They just can't get to each one. So more gold in the favor of Team Solo Mid as they split open the middle of the map, and they just have the bottom turret going down in probably 40 seconds after Dragon because they're going to pressure.
I wonder if they can catch her, though. He's invisible. Dexter couldn't make it in range in time to get the reveal. Now they're trying to push right down the mid lane. See, it's just one move followed by a counter.
Oh, that was nice. He actually walked out of call for help range on the turret.
But all 5 of TSM collapsing.
Xpecial doing what he does best, delivering the sun over to CLG, and it looks like Aphromoo getting a hook he may not want altogether. They start to back off of that. TSM saves mid-turret. Dragon's going to be up in 8.
Yeah, Dexter kicked Dyrus out of his Dragon's Descent, which saved CLG some pain right there. But Dragon is up, and Dexter is very, very low. Teleport down from Dyrus, so this could be a 5v4. Once again, soon as someone goes to the other side of the map, does the other team make a power play?
Culling doing some good damage. It looks like they will have to back off here. Pillars up, may stop the re-engage, but it does not look like they fully want the Dragon. Turtle gets hooked, but they do not go in without enough vision over the wall. They only want what's in front of them, and it looks like they'll get it as well.
It's so strange seeing team fights this early on in the game because not everyone is powered up to fight. So you see very slow kills, very drawn out engagements. Ward control is so damn important because the numbers are what matter right now. And with the Dragon being on them, they're getting a little bit low. OddOne trying to delay for Shyvana.
TSM so far ahead in these fights. 7 for OddOne, a level 8 for Turtle. He's 2 ahead of Doublelift here coming into these matchups. Neither of them with a Bloodthirst are finished, however. They're just looking at the damage that they have on their abilities over each other at this moment. Gold very close in this game as TSM wavering back and forth on that Dragon. It stays alive for now, but I think they'll be able to get it.
Well, with how low the levels are in this game.
Yeah, Aphromoo doesn't have ult yet.
Yeah, the Dragon does such substantial damage. Basically, a fight either needs to happen or you need to catch multiple people backing in order to force something.
There you go. Have Bjergsen put pressure on the mid lane, relieve pressure on Dragon, and it looks like we're going to get a good chase about here. A little cat and mouse between Dexter and Bjergsen's going to give TSM the Dragon. It just takes a little play off the ball for them to get what they want.
Yeah, CLG rotated too much to the mid lane right here. Ziggs ult's a desperation attempt. OddOne with the patience.
This is going to be going for broke. If they really try to get into this fight, TSM can easily turn this match. It's 4v3 from what they see. Doublelift on the bottom. May be able to get some good damage, and Xpecial puts himself right in the fray. Dyrus goes down immediately. Xpecial's going to be hit up here. He's chased down by Nien. He does not go down. He thought the Ignite had him. They almost turn it back around. Turtle flashing over the wall. Bjergsen stays alive, and they got the Dragon coming out of this one, so not too shabby.
Nien lost a kill there, and it means TSM comes ahead in this fight. Very close fights happening in this game. Take a look at Dyrus as he tries to jump away. He gets flayed again. He hasn't been able to get a Dragon to send off. Because of that, it looked like CLG had the end. But then Nien abandons the team as Bjergsen actually came around the back from here. And Bjergsen is the one who flies over the wall to finish off Dexter. These fights are incredibly contested and close right now.
Very chaotic movement in that for CLG. Just down 1,000 gold here as they're getting kills in these fights as well, but losing that Dragon, losing an objective before the fight is definitely going to start and give TSM enough of these power plays where they can get ahead in the game. Dyrus should be able to get this. Twin bites it out, gets himself down. He should be able to get this one too. Oh, played off of it. Aphromoo with the ward skills.
These are the vision wars of today's games. Bjergsen with a very early DFG. Link's going to grab this blue buff. It also gives him enough gold for an Athene's Unholy Grail. He's going to want to get that as quickly as possible. I really like the Tiamat choice by Nien on Trundle right now, just because all of these engagements have happened around people going to free lanes and farming. And pushing waves quickly is so important in this game. Trundle is actually a very slow wave pusher by normal standards. The Tiamat changes that and allows him to shove very quickly. So now they have the guy with teleport being able to shove lanes, which is actually very
Xpecial, he's almost in range. That Solar Flare is up, but they do not decide to use it. They wanted the Zenith Blade first. They begin to back off and set up, see what kind of builds are coming out here. Link just finishing that Unthine's Unholy Grail. Bjergsen has that Deathfire Grass though, so Doublelift has to be watching his back. He does not have too much safety other than not being in that range to die.
Yeah, CLG pushing down really heavily here. And I do have to point out a stat we found a little while back this week. Bjergsen hasn't bought a pink ward yet in North American LCS. He has won this game.
Oh, Aphromoo gets hit up pretty hard. I don't think he'll be able to make it out. Very nice job by the spray and pay back from WildTurtle. TSM special, maybe able to get hit. Oh! OddOne, the general ducks.
Is here though.
Lets his teammate go down on that one. A lot of damage. Link throws out the last bomb, and the minefield won't be enough. They're getting a little too crazy on this engagement, and that is a lot of turn shots to tank right out of the Dragons once again. And it looks like they try to keep going for the kills. Dyrus goes for the bite. He takes down Lucian, but it's going to be the back and forth trades here. 1 for 3.
I am so impressed with CLG's ability to stop Dragon's descent. Dyrus has not got an ultimate off on CLG this game. It is incredible. That's the reason CLG came ahead in this fight. So yes, Aphromoo gets caught very early on because he had some turret hits on him, and that really begins things, of course. And then CLG is slowly collapsing down. Remember, Bjergsen isn't here. The level of skill shots in this game is extremely high with that knockback on a TSM. This is an incredibly dangerous dive right here because Dyrus has the ability to destroy someone. He waits until he could use it for an execute, and CLG knows that. As soon as he tried to use it, he kicked him back. It was ridiculous timing by Dexter. That's what made Turtle commit as well, because they thought that Dragon's Descent would kill Ling. Because it doesn't, CLG cleans up the fight.
Pretty much kicking off an audio cue.
Yeah, unreal. But one thing I do have to point out again is Bjergsen hadn't bought a pink ward up until this point in the North American LCS. Normally, TSM completely relies on OddOne and Xpecial to put the majority of their pink wards down. But the reason I think he bought one this game is there's so many early turret kills, and there are more vision battles and rotations in this game than any game TSM has played this season. He felt the need to buy the pink ward this game because it is such a paramount objective right now just to have control of vision.
making sure that they have all the wards, clearing out the pinks they need to get, giving the TheOddOne WildTurtle safety as well coming into these fights. CLG within the fights is prioritizing amazingly, as we have so far seen. Around the map, though, TSM is able to grab that lead, but the 1,000 gold lead is now stretched, or squeezed down, I should say, to 600 in favor of Team Solo Mid, and CLG is looking to make moves as well. Dexter pink warding down above the Baron, and they're all going to start hovering towards the top.
And the team play has been so important in this game, as we've already mentioned, but just to kind of illustrate how CLG is doing it a little bit better, Link and Doublelift both have 100% kill participation at this very short juncture of the game, whereas TSM is much lower than that. You can see 7 kills. The most someone has participated is 5. So CLG is actually grouping up more than TSM, and TSM is prioritizing farm a little bit more. That's why they have more CS in lanes.
Yeah, it's something we've seen CLG do since the beginning of the season, especially once they got Dexter. Moving around the map, avoiding the team and getting a kill along the way if you can. You see in early 2v1 swaps, you can get somebody swapping back. CLG works on that almost the whole game. Yeah. Now to the top lane, they grab down the turret, hopefully opening the map to get some of those swaps.
Yeah, and speaking to the strategy of these teams right now, TSM trying to get farm inside lanes. WildTurtle is trying to finish up some items while CLG is maintaining this 5-man mob in the top lane. How dangerous will this dive be? How willing is CLG to dive in here? Because the levels are still fairly low.
Got a very far WildTurtle crawling over now. Looks like he's going to actually grab Dragon as he tells the team to kite, not fight. We're going to get some extra gold across the map.
Yeah, TSM finds yet another pink ward. I will say all this movement as well has really neutralized the TheOddOne's effectiveness early on in the game. He hasn't been able to exploit lanes.
Yep.
Inability to ward him out because everything's been a big mob. Dyrus gets caught.
Oh,
gets away this time, though.
The Vision Wars. Yeah, finally, it's used in defense. Maybe it's going to be Nien on the Subjugate is there. One last hit from Nien, and again, he cannot close out the kill, unfortunately. TheOddOne's there creating too much pressure, but the team, they would have had that.
Just an inch more for Nien, and he would have had 2 more kills in this game, but let's see if the pressure they created there gives them yet another turret. They're really laser focused on objectives here. The whole reason they got that is because they were baiting around the red buff.
Bjergsen over to blue. They know the team has a pretty good upper hand on the situation. They may get some damage on the turret for CLG, but they're not going to take it. Team Solo Mid is just too big right now. Bjergsen backing. TSM really not forcing anything.
CLG pretty low on health and mana right here, which is why Xpecial decided to go in there. The turret is barely finished off there. CLG gets what they came for.
Gold is tied. 31 threes, 5-4 in turrets now. What a game so far. Second game of the day here. Like we said, 90 games in. And to look at the head-to-head between these two teams, it's 3-0 in favor of Team Solo Mid. CLG's putting up a good fight right now.
Yeah, and even though CLG is fairly unlikely to finish the regular season in the top 2, this fight and this game is really to try and prove their competitiveness for the top spot in North America. For so long this year, it's really been a conversation between TSM and Cloud9. Who's the best in North America? But if CLG can win this one, they will have proven to beat Cloud9 in a game, to beat TSM in a game, as they continue to try and improve through the end of the season. It is really a huge confidence game for CLG, as they too want to be considered for that North American All-Star spot.
Well, when we talked to Link, he said those were the guys to beat him. Team Solo Mid and Cloud9. Why? Because they will constantly out-rotate us. They will make the better moves, and they will make it before we do. So far, CLG has been able to read that book pretty quick and adapt this game. So they're staying and stop the bleeding that was happening in the early game. Staying in this one.
So will things calm down here, now that so many turrets have been pushed back?
Right.
Is a bit of a question. The Dragon is going to be very important, and getting vision control over the Dragon and Baron area is so contentious. And as more turrets fall, the amount of map that you need to control just increases, because there's no turrets for safety. Also, when you consider there's 2 stealth champions on TSM and a LeBlanc.
Say that.
And a LeBlanc.
It's a little
Link is
scarier.
so much danger.
Just about those 2 stealth champions you were talking about.
Notice how he barriered there too, because he didn't know what else was coming at him, and he thought he was going to be dead, even though the Lantern came in to save him eventually. That's a lot of vulnerability now for Link.
We'll see what they can continue to produce here with the pressure they just created in mid. With Doublelift at the bottom, this is a
did not want to show there, but he had to, and you could see he had second thoughts about going there because CLG does not have vision control over the Baron area either, and they know this is a 4v5. Expect a scout maybe with the Ziggs ultimate.
Mega Inferno Bomb, yep, that is up. That's going to be the Baron debuff if they're able to hit that on, but TSM leaves the base. The Solar Flare kind of hitting wide on that one. They go on to Nien. They're going to have to put a lot of pressure on this. Link does not get the satchel charge he wants in this one. Bjergsen almost pulled into the fight. OddOne's going to go down very quickly here. CLG finds what they want. Nien starts to return, and they want the initiate here. Subjugate is already down. He's going to try to lock down Xpecial. Could have the pillar coming up quite soon. Throws down the movement speed. Xpecial flashes over. Dyrus makes it in with Dragon's Descent. He's able to get one, but they turn it down. On the backside is the spray and pray triple kill from WildTurtle as he puts the shell on and goes hard. Now it's 3v1 as they chase out Doublelift.
That is why WildTurtle picked Twitch in this game, finding the corridors that CLG would chase into and wrecking people with spray and pray. What a fight there, back and forth. You can see right at the start, a missed initiation by TSM as CLG very handily disengaged. And then Link, not jumping all the way away, actually baits TSM a little bit in there. They kick OddOne forward and trap him in. But then CLG feels like they have the upper hand. It's all about kiting back for TSM. But notice how WildTurtle's in stealth. When he pops out of this, he gets the attack speed bonus. And CLG is in a line for the spray and praise press Dragon Descent. And it rips through the CLG lineup right there. Everyone going down, including Link and Aphro.
Such a crazy play coming in. TSM wanting that fight and actually having to produce it by manipulating CLG into moving behind the Baron pit. They did exactly what they needed to. He came out with a 2,000 gold lead after that fight.
So TSM with a bit more of an element of control here. Obviously WildTurtle, huge amounts of money now. He is going to be a much higher priority.
He's going straight for Infinity Edge
Straight for Infinity Edge. There's not too much armor on the side of CLG right now. They have to fear for Bjergsen as well. Even though Bjergsen, this is not your typical Bjergsen game. CLG has neutralized him fairly heavily, but the threat of Leblanc still exists. He can still close to zero out Doublelift or Link at this point if he flanks around in the right way of team fights. CLG just continuing to try and keep map control here.
Yeah, that fight actually was a loss of vision control once they walked into the rush behind red. Not doing that again. You can see him hip to hip here, power and numbers as they move around the map once again. A few more core items coming out. Doublelift trying to finish up that last whisper. And we actually see the Talisman of Ascension here, 25 minutes in, still not finished up as Aphromoo is thrown in. That Spectral's Cowl as well. Gonna need that.
Trying to get Spirit Visage to increase his healing a little bit. Trundle is a monster in late game team fights, often because he has that percentage health heal when people die, as well as the resist steal. It's just such an amazing scaler if he can exist to the end of team fights.
Nien in the bottom lane now, probably what they would have wanted when Doublelift was down here, since Nien has that teleport, but it won't be much use as they're pushed up against the walls of their base. We see them pretty much backing, getting themselves set. Doublelift up in the top lane, only getting himself to 187. He is 5-1-5, but WildTurtle picking up 6-1-3 now at 211. You see how much hurt he has put on the team.
This has not been a farming game, that's for sure. And a lot of WildTurtle's success actually came because CLG was prioritizing objectives heavier than laning. And TSM was obviously laning a little bit more than objectives. They've been matching each other a little bit in both. But WildTurtle was the recipient of a lot of that extra farm, and then he was still there when they had the big team fight. So he could use that very minuscule edge he gained through the farming and lane to get even more kills. And he is trying to turn himself into that monstrous Twitch carry.
Oh, Xpecial, the Solar Flare once again. This is the Zenith Blade though, a good flash coming from Link there. Actually jump out, I should say, on the satchel.
No follow-up with the team there, so a miscommunication by the TSM team. Their Xpecial said go, and for once the team did not follow. They were not in position to be fair.
Right.
And luckily it does not cost TSM much, but Xpecial's ultimate. That does leave a vulnerability here if CLG finds something.
As the teams push each other out here and figure out how much power they're dealing with. We look at our top lane matchup. It was Dyrus versus Nien for the featured matchup of the day. And with that swap, with everything that happened.
Oh, they caught OddOne.
That's the second time this has happened now. OddOne was kicked back in the last fight, throws down the Agony's Embrace. He is so tanky right now, not going down to Dexter or Nien. The Mega Inferno is able to get him. Dexter goes in on the Lee Syndrome and gets the kill with the resonating strike. Culling coming across, a very nice pillar to initiate and keep it going. Xpecial's getting bit up here. The Randuin's goes down. It's going to be one after the other as CLG is catching up.
And TSM bailed out near the end of that fight. Turtle decided not to fight. He did not have his ultimate. And most importantly, they knew they did not have the ultimate from Xpecial. Now, Bjergsen is in the wings. Dyrus is in the wings. How difficult is this Baron Force? There's no spot on TSM, but a power play from CLG. This is huge.
This fight comes from, we were just talking about him, Nien's movement and positioning, but can they keep the whole team together here for a big power play? Still waiting on Xpecial to come up. OddOne's not going to make it all the way back. They may not have enough to get the damage onto Baron, and now they're being chaotically strung about in front of the pit.
It is a hold off by TSM right there. An incredibly tense situation, but TSM is able to prevail in that one. Wow. They had to split up into two sides there, Dyrus and Bjergsen, to push and pull CLG in a direction. And unlike the CLG compositions of the past, they don't have that Sivir, they don't have the Karma, they have no ability to very quickly just out-move speed someone. The mobility is very closely matched in this game. So the push-pull from TSM was successful in getting them off the Baron.
TSM slowly pushing themselves into the right positions, making CLG have to back off on that Baron as we saw, but they are right back. Gonna get ward vision on this.
Get vision back.
Yep, they got 2 pinks to clear out, but they still have a pink on WildTurtle to be used in this. He's quite far off. The teleport's up on Dyrus. We could have another go.
WildTurtle is really strong right now with his Infinity Edge, especially when you consider there's no Randuins completed on anyone from CLG right now. And Randuins is extra good against Twitch because if he shoots through a Randuins, it will slow his move speed as well as his attack speed. But right now, it's just the wards now, so it's the attack speed that would be reduced. And CLG really needs to get at least one guy with a Randuins to hopefully close down on WildTurtle. He is the priority in these fights for CLG to close on, and the rotations continue.
Well, they got what they need to take down that one guy. 4 pink wards right now in the inventory of CLG for any invisibility they have to deal with in the next fight. Minute and 40 on the clock. It's getting more tense for these fights, however. Doesn't look like Dexter's going to be able to thread the needle on that one, so they're just clearing out the mid wave to create pressure.
The teleport coming in.
It's going to be enough. Bjergsen on the backside. He's going to have Dyrus right there with Link so hurt on this. They may be able to force something.
Nien just went in.
Not
way before the team.
Too sure what that was about. That was an error.
He tried to match teleports with Dyrus, but CLG was not on the same page, and the ward he chose was dangerous. Then he didn't cancel his teleport and got punished for it. Now it is a 5v4 with Link extremely low and no Ziggs ultimate. TSM might just force this down. Burn at half.
Unfortunate engagement coming in for CLG. TSM going to try to take advantage here. Doublelift just on the outside.
Danger.
He puts himself in the front.
Great
Dashes backward during the calling to try and get the fadeaway damage. He's trying to orb walk it, and he does take down Dyrus in the matchup. Bjergsen's very hurt on the outside, but that's the clone. He actually goes down to the hands of Dexter, and TSM is still trying to find where the rest of the team is. A double kill. Beautiful play from Dexter and Doublelift, and they're going to keep going. A very low Xpecial. OddOne's out of mana, and they're going to have eyes possibly on Baron.
Are they doing this with 2 people? Eva's still alive with a smite. This is crazy by CLG. Can't say enough about the play by CLG, but this is a bold call.
Flash is not up. He's got enough to speed his way in and try to get the smite down, and they don't have vision on any side. Nien comes in. They got the pink ward to figure out if OddOne is even close, and he's backing.
What a move there by CLG. This is the best game I've seen in North America this year so far. 16-14, and these plays are ridiculous, Rib. Even just the kick from that last fight, from the very start. Doublelift gets off a perfect calling. That is exactly the way Lucian is meant to be played. And also, Dexter able to jump through to finish off Bjergsen. That was critical. And then the savvy to know that there's 3 TSM members. OddOne thought he was baiting in that, and then to kick Turtle back into Doublelift and make the 2v3 an advantage for them is just amazing headiness from these guys. Already getting the synergy.
Doublelift
and the Baron after.
All the abilities to slice the pie on that one and get himself another kill with the dash. CLG picks up Dragon after picking up Baron. They bring themselves into a 2,000 gold lead. A turret up so far. And we haven't seen too many turrets drop lately. It has been at each other's throats.
This has been a really, really well-played game on both sides. WildTurtle there was never able to get the fight he wanted. CLG jumped through and around the fight very well without Nien. The fact that they played that last fight without a tank is incredible. Dexter has turned himself into a tank now with the Randwins. But Turtle needs to find the right way of opening up in fights, and the Last Whisper is really important for that. Twitch needs to become a tank buster because he's going to be getting dove on very hard by Nien and Dexter, and without that Last Whisper, they would be able to beat him down. Additionally, Bjergsen has really been held in check this game by the overall rotations of CLG.
Something we see him having a lot more impact on. Really, Dyrus and the outside lanes have been the ones on the move. Bjergsen and Link were left to fend for themselves, and they're too good to kill each other one-on-one. So like you said, in check, definitely causing the impact plays here to be a lot less frequent. Dexter in and out.
In the top lane, so they have to do the push and pull. Xpecial wanted to come at them with the ultimate, but Nien had to put the pillar down. Baron is not a factor right here. I think TSM right now is strong enough to stop turrets from falling. Diving on top of a Twitch on top of a turret is just too much.
Too much slow. A lot of things to lock you down. Dyrus and Xpecial will have their way under that turret. Top lane, Doublelift, doing what he can by himself, and this is CLG. The rotations now, trying to catch somebody on the rotation to where they're going. Not going to happen this time, as TSM is definitely playing with their hard hats on here. We'll see what Doublelift can do. That Shin hitting off the turret from the Triforce.
Yeah, and even with a Negatron cloak, Doublelift takes a large amount of damage. Bjergsen didn't even DFG burst him there, but of course, large amounts of lifesteal there on Lucian. The siege is very dangerous for CLG. I actually feel like they're going to have to pull back pretty soon. A large wave in the bottom lane, someone would want to clean up. But they're sticking around. They want to try one more time at this one.
They have too much clear coming out. Very nice job for TSM to stop that one. Doublelift, that was just 2-hit there. He did get the ultimate on the duplicate, so he's not actually taking that much damage. And if he gets full distorted on, it's going to be his death.
Staying very aggressive and trying to poke down the turret as much as possible. They knew Dyrus went back to base, so they're just trying to get pot shots in, though. Remember, though, these turrets now regen. Yep. So if CLG doesn't either maintain this push until it goes down or return very shortly, all this will be for nothing, and they're losing a substantial amount of creeps in the bottom lane. TSM wants to make something happen. I just don't know if it's in the cards.
I know Doublelift is cringing about missing this CS in the bottom lane, but they're doing what they can to get this inhibitor. It will give them such an advantage in a game that they've been on their heels. The wave clear is good. The siege will be there on the turret as well. Ooh, Doublelift just on the edge of getting Zenith's Blade over by Xpecial, but they're safe.
They don't have much Baron buff left either. They've spent a lot of this time just poking down this turret. I mean, the next wave is here. They have Xpecial pretty low. If they don't all in on this turret, all this is pretty much for nothing.
Not doing too much damage to Dyrus. Got a culling to be used here. Doublelift looks like they're going to be able to hit the turret up one after the other. They're really just timing this one out. They're saying 100 more damage on the next wave, and then the next wave.
Exactly. With how much they're getting on each wave, Riv, this next one would be the time they get it, but they've overstayed. They do not have Baron anymore, so this would be a fight that they could potentially lose if this one goes down. I expect a battle to happen like right now.
The part I like, though, when that turret's about to go down, the other team wants to go in very hard, but how can they when you are so low? The hook onto Dyrus. He is going to get shattered out of the fight. Bjergsen onto Doublelift, and he is going to stay alive. The Ignite will not take him down. TheOddOne is going to be in the backside, not able to help. Nien take the lantern and a 3-man satchel to burst out the fight. Turtle's got to walk through the minefield. The Q. Dexter, does he want it? And he hits it. It's going to be an all-out battle as they go for broke. CLG's got the TheOddOne, and they ace Team Solo mid.
Riv, with the time left on the game, 30 to 40-second death timers and the minion wave, this could actually be the win for CLG.
This is absolutely amazing. Persevering through being pushed into their own base. Counter Logic Gaming comes back huge with movement around the map and strategic play, taking out the Nexus turrets, and most likely the Nexus in 37 minutes.
They have the minions, they have the win, they just defied TSM and destroyed them in 36 minutes.
It will not be a 4-game shutout for Team Solo Mid. CLG takes the last one, and they're going to go 15-8 in the spring split so far.
A a standing ovation, I'd say, from the CLG fans in the crowd.
Absolutely.
What a finish right there. CLG.
They are reeling.
CLG had to make very dangerous calls to win this game, and the execution had to be perfect in these situations. Just consider that they had that fight as soon as the Baron falls. If you think about textbook League of Legends, TSM did the right thing by fighting CLG there. As soon as the team tries to siege you without the Baron buff, you fight them because they think they're stronger than they are. But CLG got the catch onto Dyrus. They finished him before he could become a factor. And then Turtle almost wiped them out. He almost finished him with that final spray and pray. But they landed all of their skill shots. The hook, the dexter moves on Lucian, and just the movement by
Absolutely
CLG
amazing.
was just, it gave me chills at how well that was executed. I did not expect the teams to play this well. Like, yes, TSM got outplayed. But that's because CLG did something they've never done before.
In many ways. First time Lucian for Dexter. First time Lucian for Doublelift as well. And this also means that Team Solo Mid cannot tie Cloud9's record.
Yeah. It also, if Cloud9 wins today, means there's a tie at the top of the North American standings, which means that first seed is up for grabs again, which will lead even more importance to the next Cloud9 versus TSM game, right? Not to mention, Cloud9 has to play CLG again this season, too. Yeah.
Kind of just like need some oxygen for a second. Yeah. What an amazing game.
Yeah. 9, 3, and 10 onto Dexter. He should play Lucian more.
Yeah.
Personally, my personal opinion on that one.
Those kicks.
Yeah. The feature match of the day, obviously, Nien versus Dyrus.
Right, in the top lane.
We didn't get to touch on that too much, only because the game was so rotation-focused and it was mainly about the team fights. I would actually say CLG did just a ridiculous job at shutting down Dyrus. I think they really made him second-guess himself on his ability to use Dragon's Descent. The way Dexter was able to stop it and the way Aphromoo was able to stop it. Even Link, if you could theoretically get him with a satchel charge. Like, there are some things they could use to stop it, but I'd say over half of Dyrus' ultimates got fizzled, and every time they did catch it, he could never successfully ult away and live. Was incredibly important. And then Nien had that one misplay, but it ended up turning into a CLG advantage.
Which
the other
kind of blows your mind to think about. That was one of the biggest errors that they made in the game. As a team, it's not just Nien going in there. The communication was for the fight, and he didn't stop it in time, obviously. But for the team to come back after that, the use of vision in this, maybe if it's just because of 4.4, crazy stuff in the early parts of the game and then throughout the game, was really what was winning these fights. It wasn't a lot of turret dives. It was a lot of, let's vie for vision here, and let's vie for our lives. And
I can't say enough how much Leblanc and Bjergsen was just completely neutralized in that game.
Not the same game we usually see.
He had been 4-0 on LeBlanc. He'd had some of his best games on LeBlanc. He had like 13-1. His one death was suicide in the Nexus. Like, just jokingly easy games for Bjergsen when he's been on LeBlanc. But because CLG was grouped up so much of the game, and they had really on-point crowd control whenever Bjergsen decided to go in, they shut him down. I mean, to consider that TSM had 14 kills in that game, and Bjergsen was only a part of 6 of them, that's just not your typical Bjergsen game.
That's true.
He was shut down.
The one that's on clip to beat ManCloud's highest kill, highest kills in the split.
Yeah, he needed to get 7.8 kills per game. He had 3 in that last one.
That was an absolutely crazy game in terms of how CLG was able to come back. I know we're just reiterating it now.
Yeah.
But with the fact that laning phase broke so early, that's where we CLG hold the longest.
It was over right as it started.
Doublelift and Aphromoo want to farm their faces off, and they came out of lane at 80 CS when they started roaming.
It's a lot of the new CLG that we see now, even going back to really since Dexter joined the team. They've been heavily objective focused. They're continuing to move in that direction. And as we can see now, all of the time and effort they put towards breaking out of the laning habits, starting the team fight together, making the right calls in high-pressure, dangerous situations, it's really starting to yield them results in their first win of the year against TSM.
And we gotta say, the Aphromoo first pick for Thresh really paid out for him. He has, as we've said in previous preview shows, heat-seeking hooks that lock down these games.
Hey,
they gave Bjergsen LeBlanc this game for that Thresh.
An incredibly bold first pick for Thresh, but how many of those fights did he land the hook on the priority target? All you can say is worth.
Worth indeed. So for a first-hand account of that huge win, let's turn it over to Freak at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. What's up, guys? Joined by Dexter and Doublelift. You guys played incredible that game. Dexter, start with you. Lee Sin, I think it's the first time we've seen you on it this year. Why?
When I first started playing him, I was like really rusty and I didn't want to pick him up. And then people started banning it out in scrims for no reason and I couldn't really practice it. So I was like, whatever, I don't play Lee Sin anymore.
Okay.
And then 2 days before this game, we were like, okay, we want to play Lee Sin. And then I practiced like 3 or 4 games in solo queue. And we practiced a bit in scrims. Ever since then, it has been working out good for us. And then we were like, okay, they have Evelynn and maybe Twitch. So I just go for Lee Sin. And then I picked it and locked it in.
Yeah, that worked out really well for you. I actually want to press you on that one more time as well. So you went a fairly offensive build. We're low tankiness, Lizard Elder, Hex Drinker, Sightstone, finally late Randuins. How do you navigate fights when you've got so little durability?
I think everyone is kind of stuck in an old Lee Sin mentality still, where you just build like pure tank. But if you play Lee Sin, you can create picks and like we had Thresh on the team as well, and we could skirmish around. And I knew that when I had Hex Drinker, Leblanc won't do anything to me, so I can just 2-2 the Evelynn with Ziggs together. And yeah, that like I snowballed really well in early games, so I could afford to build damage. And after that, I just wanted to have the Randuins for the Twitch, and otherwise I would have probably stacked more magic with this because all I had to do was like hit a Q on a priority target and maybe look for a kick. And yeah, I was just there in the team fights for disruption and to create picks after all spells have been thrown out. So.
Yeah, worked incredibly well for you, of course. Now, Doublelift, want to talk to you a bit. Incredible Lucian game, 9-1 and 10. I think it was the first Lucian game you played this split, or one of few.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really like Lucian at first because I was still stuck in playing like Ezreal every game, and I'm primarily just meant to play hyper carries. That's like my old mindset. But Lucian's really good for taking objectives, and he's really, really good at cleaning up fights when people misplay. And he's got like a really big mechanical skill cap, which I didn't really know before. And after playing against these LCS Lucian, especially when I just played against Turtle in scrims a lot, and he played Lucian, and I was like, oh, like Lucian's pretty good actually. So I kind of stole his champ.
I told him like since the start of the season, play Lucian, play Lucian. No, Lucian sucks. I don't want to play it. And then Sneaky got to rank 1, and then obviously he had to pick it up again. And then,
salty, dude.
Salt. Oh my gosh. So you fought against, not in lane, but in the game, a Twitch, someone we haven't seen much this year. Played in Korea a bit, first time for North America. What do you think about with Twitch?
Yeah, Twitch is what used to be one of my go-to champions, and I understand that he's really strong late game. He's an insane hyper carry. Once you get to 6 items, I mean, he's got 850 range, he's got an attack speed steroid, and his ulti gives him AD too. So he's just really strong when it gets to super late game. But these days, doesn't really get to super late game, as you saw.
Yeah.
He's really good for making picks because of his stealth. And when you have you're up against Twitch Eve, it's really hard for you to push out side lanes. So we were always scared to push him out in case Twitch would like randomly gank us. But his biggest weakness is in team fights, he's really, really unforgiving for bad positioning. So, you know, like Turtle just kept flashing forward or getting hit by hooks or something. And as soon as that happens, Twitch is useless.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of Twitch getting caught out, we have a replay of a crazy chaotic team fight right before Baron. It ends with you getting a miracle kick on Twitch Plant, of course. Yeah, we can get that replay on your screen. I want you guys to walk us through this battle.
You can do it.
Well, so they just gotten a pick on Nien because we misplayed, and then they just engage on us because 5v4, they think they can win. But they're all really chunked from Baron because Ziggs poked them and Baron's was hitting them the whole time. So I'm just on their front line, and Link just dies instantly. But we managed to kill LeBlanc, which is the biggest thing. Basically, Link kind of suicided to kill LeBlanc, which is totally worth. So now it's a 2v3. We don't even think that we should go back in, but this miracle kick happens right here because Turtle wasn't really paying attention where Lee Sin was. And then after this, it's just really easy to clean up. I mean, I just E forward, kill Xpecial, it's free. Free SM.
And then Nien thankfully respawns in time for you guys to take Baron.
Yep.
So I want to kind of talk to you about what was happening in this game, though, because you guys were actually at a gold deficit almost the entire time. It was close, but oftentimes deficit, because while you guys were pushing turrets, TSM was farming. Yep. And so you were up 5-4 in turrets and down 2,000 gold. First of all, were you even aware that their farm is keeping them up so much in the game?
Actually, I was under the impression that we were ahead in the game, but obviously now we're really objective focused, and it's even more important against stealth champions like even Twitch to take away their towers so they don't have like safe spots to like stealth from. So they have to stealth from their tier 2 and stuff. So we just kind of took all their towers, and they weren't able to make as many picks as they probably wanted to. And when we're grouping down a lane, I mean, it's totally worth if they just get some farm, whatever, and we take like a tier 1 or tier 2 turret. It just takes away so much control from them.
So then how did you play the rest of the game out where you've got no turrets to take anymore? The game's actually still very, very close. How do you get the next advantage?
Well, we have Thresh and Sin, and we are really good at skirmishes, and they have TP, so we know that they want to use the TP, and we had Nien versus Shyvana, both had TP, and we knew that on the rest of the map it's a 4-on-4 100%. And if we get the catch, we win the 4-on-4 100% because we have Thresh, who's really good, we have Sin, and we have Lucian, like hyper mobile and everything, and they have Twitch, and if you catch Twitch, like if I get a Q on him, he's dead 100%. There's nothing he can do against it. And we knew that as long as we keep vision in the game and they don't flank, like the thing is, when you play Twitch, you want to flank. And they almost caught out Ziggs as well in mid lane several times, and all they wanted is kill Ziggs instantly when he had no flash. So we just had to keep up the vision pretty much with pink wards and everything, and don't let Twitch flank us. And as soon as we saw Twitch, we tried to go for vision, because if you just face tech the jungle and they engage on us or flank us, then we might lose the game. And double stealth is what kept them in the game so long, because it's super annoying to play against. And I mean, Twitch has a 100% win rate in Korea for a reason, and he's super good. And if you can play him really well, then yeah, it's pretty strong. And it's really annoying to play against, because you have to keep up vision all the time, and it's super annoying to play against.
Well, of course, it did work out for you guys, and actually, you guys eventually transitioned into a siege in the top lane. Our second replay is top lane inhibitor siege, if we can get that on your screen real quick. You guys actually stayed after Baron buff timed out, and then they engaged on you when Baron buff went away.
Yeah, we knew that they want to engage on us, because Baron just timed out. And we knew also that we are stronger, because we have Ziggs. If they engage into us, Ziggs can just throw down every spell, and there's nothing they can do. We also have Thresh with a Banshee spell, landing a hook right now on Dyrus, and we were like, go, 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 and we killed him before he used ultimate. And then they re-engaged before, like after the tank was done. And yeah, I saved Doublelift there, and after that, after Dyrus got caught, the fight was over. We just clean up, pretty much.
Well, I live with like 1% HP, and so did Nien. I calculated that pretty well, and I healed off doubles right here. So like, Twitch probably thinks I'm out of the fight, so he just like flashes forward.
Going again.
And
we got re-engaged, flash hook, really good from Aphromoo. I slowed down everyone with my E, and then the game was over.
Yep.
And you max safeguard second on Sin, right? Is that the standard?
E.
Oh, so you actually it's rank 1 shield?
Yeah.
Rank 1 shield saved your life. There you go.
Saved my life. Thanks.
40 health, all you need calculated.
You just need damage.
So just full damage. That's interesting, because
full damage, Lucian.
Yeah, most Lucian junglers also tend to max.
I knew that E is really good against Twitch, because it slows the attack speed by 60%.
Yeah.
And I know that if I jump in with my E, 60% slow and attack speed. With renderings combined, Twitch will just stand still and can't do anything.
So was that an adaptation, or would you normally max E second?
I think E second is better right now, and
just
everyone does it. Yeah, you can max W second as well, but I think E is way better. It's better for dueling. It gives you more damage, and yeah, I think it's better.
Okay, and of course
it's preference.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, of course, it worked out for you guys. Of course, congratulations on your win. So now you've taken a game off of both TSM and Cloud9. You're looking pretty good. Are you still looking to make it into the top 2, or are you happiest to play from 3rd place in the playoffs?
Well, all I wanted is to win at least once against TSM and Cloud9 and know that we can beat them. And if we go into playoffs, like right now, I don't really care if I am 3rd or 2nd, because we know that we can beat every team when we play our best. And I think top 2 is still the priority, but we can't really control that.
Sure.
Cloud9 has to lose a lot of games, and I mean, we got like a game right now from TSM, which is really good, and we still have 5 more games to play. But I don't think Cloud9 will lose to like any bottom 5 teams or something, or maybe drop a game.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not in our hands if you can go top 2. It's all about like Cloud9 being consistent, beating those teams, and I think if we just win all our games, then we are pretty happy with our performance. And I think ever since I joined, we have been like, I don't know, 13-3 or something right now.
You guys are great,
yeah. I just wanted to have that one win that we know that we can beat them, because it's like, if you go into playoffs 0-4 against a team, you know that, oh man, they're so much better. It's like a mental block. But now we played really well, and yeah, we know that they're not unbeatable, and I really hope we can play them in the playoffs.
We really didn't want them to have the C9 25-3 at the end of the season, because now they're just going to go 24-4, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, last year's playoffs, you guys had 4-0 TSM. They beat you in playoffs. You could have reversed it here.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that too. Like in the back of my mind when I was playing this game, I was like, if we lost, like maybe it would just be the reverse of like last season where we beat them in playoffs anyways. But I think that was like just a huge fluke, because TSM was going through like a lot of really weird changes, and like their atmosphere was bad. So we just like 4-0'd them in the regular season, but then at the end of the day, they're a stronger team.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, congratulations on your win. We'll see more of you throughout the week, and good luck tomorrow as well. We're going to have more stuff going on today. They're going to catch our breath, and then after this next game, Coast looks to snap a 6-game losing streak when they face off against XDG. The North American LCS continues in 3.5 minutes.
the ward. Poke. Yo, we can poke. I can save you. They're coming in. Careful. I'm on Leona. Bjergsen. Shyvana. Bjergsen, nice. Yo, you can take it slow. Take it slow. Twitch right here. Take it slow. You guys got this. Nice.